Imagine waking up to a frozen world outside. The ground was hard, white, and brutally unforgiving. Every breath became a battle against freezing air. There were no heated houses waiting anywhere. There were no stores selling warm clothes nearby. Even sleeping could become a dangerous gamble. One mistake could cost an entire family dearly. So humans started thinking differently about survival. The cold wasn't something they could simply escape. They had to learn how to fight it. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Fire. Suddenly, darkness didn't automatically mean freezing anymore. A small flame could transform a shelter. People gathered closer, protecting precious body heat. Someone always had to keep watching it, because letting that fire die meant danger. Wood had to be collected constantly throughout winter. Every branch suddenly became incredibly valuable. Fire became warmth, light, food, and protection. For ancient humans, losing fire could mean disaster. Cold demanded something humans couldn't easily replace. Calories. The body burns more energy staying warm. So food became more than simple hunger. Fat could become precious survival fuel. Large animals suddenly became extremely valuable targets. Hunters followed tracks across frozen landscapes. One successful hunt could feed everyone for days. But hunting itself could be brutally dangerous. A missed hunt meant another freezing night hungry. Winter made every meal matter much more. But food wasn't enough to survive winter. Humans also needed something between skin and snow. Animal hides became incredibly valuable survival materials. First came scraping away unwanted tissue from hides. Then the material needed careful preparation. People wrapped themselves against freezing winds. A simple hide could block dangerous exposure. Every useful piece became worth saving. Cold turned hunting waste into essential protection. Survival meant using almost everything available. Sometimes the safest home wasn't above ground. Rock could block wind better than anything. Caves offered protection from brutal weather outside. Deep interiors stayed separated from freezing winds. Families moved deeper when storms became dangerous. But caves weren't automatically safe places. Other animals wanted those shelters too. Humans had to check before moving inside. A warm shelter was useless if predators occupied it. Even choosing a home became survival strategy. Cold created another problem. Losing heat while sleeping. A sleeping body can't generate much movement. So, families stayed physically close together. Bodies became another source of shared warmth. Huddling could reduce exposed surface area dramatically. Children were kept close to adults. Sleeping arrangements suddenly became survival decisions. Nobody wanted to wake up completely exposed. The family itself became part protection. Sometimes survival simply meant staying together. In winter, every unnecessary movement cost precious energy. Walking through deep snow was exhausting work. Long journeys became carefully planned decisions. Hunters needed enough food before leaving camp. People chose routes that reduced dangerous exposure. They rested whenever conditions became too severe. Saving energy could be just as important. Sometimes staying inside was the smartest decision. Winter punished people who moved without planning. Survival became a game of energy management. Winter also changed where animals could survive. Humans learned to follow their movements. Migrating herds became moving sources of food. Hunters watched tracks across frozen ground carefully. Finding animals meant finding another chance to survive. But following herds could take families far away. Portable tools became incredibly important during movement. Shelters sometimes had to be rebuilt repeatedly. Humans learned that survival meant staying flexible. When the environment changed, they changed too. Finding food wasn't enough during brutal winters. Humans needed food that could last longer. Cold temperatures naturally slowed food spoilage. People could use freezing conditions to advantage. Meat could be stored for later meals. Drying also helped preserve valuable food supplies. Every preserved meal bought another survival day. Storage became just as important as hunting. A successful hunt could feed tomorrow's hungry family. Winter rewarded anyone who planned ahead. Wind could make freezing temperatures feel even worse. So humans stopped building shelters randomly. They searched for natural protection first. Rocks could block powerful winter winds. Shelters were positioned behind natural barriers. Entrances could face away from prevailing winds. Animal hides added another protective layer. Every small improvement made nights more survivable. Ancient shelters became simple pieces of engineering. They weren't modern homes, but they worked. Keeping warm required an enormous amount of wood. Wood wasn't always easy to find. Winter landscapes could become surprisingly resource poor. Humans searched for every burnable material available. They collected dry branches before snow covered them. Wood gathering became another daily responsibility. A fire couldn't survive without constant attention. Someone had to keep feeding those flames. The warmest shelter was useless without wood. Winter turned firewood into a precious resource. Culture wasn't their only weapon against the cold. Their bodies carried powerful physical adaptations too. Neanderthals had shorter, stockier body proportions. That shape helped reduce heat loss. Their noses also helped condition cold air. Muscular bodies required an enormous amount of energy. Food provided fuel for maintaining body temperature. Their biology worked alongside technology and behavior. Cold survival wasn't controlled by one adaptation. It was an entire package of advantages. And sometimes, the smartest move was leaving. Humans didn't always fight the environment directly. When climates became harsher, populations could relocate. Following warmer regions offered another survival strategy. Animals and food sources influenced those movements. Families packed what they could carry. Then they walked toward more favorable conditions. Adaptation sometimes meant knowing when to leave. Survival wasn't always about becoming tougher. Sometimes survival meant choosing a better place. But here's where winter became truly unforgiving. Sometimes there simply wasn't enough food. Sometimes the firewood supply ran dangerously low. Sometimes storms trapped families inside shelters. Weakness could spread quickly through an exhausted group. Hunters could return empty-handed after dangerous journeys. Every failed day made the next harder. The cold didn't care how brave someone was. Survival depended on preparation, cooperation, and brutal choices. And sometimes, nature simply won the argument. Ancient humans never truly defeated the cold. They learned how to live alongside it. Fire gave them warmth and cooking. Hides gave them protection from freezing winds. Shelters gave them somewhere safe to recover. Food gave their bodies the energy needed. Families gave each other another layer of survival. Adaptability became more powerful than physical strength. And that lesson still defines humanity today. We survived winter by learning together, constantly. They didn't survive the Ice Age because they were stronger. They survived because they learned faster, adapted together, and refused to face the cold alone.